My name's Melissa, and my husband Rocky and I run a small family business up in Maine called Wooden Wonders, which we believe to be the only Hobbit Hole company in the world. So we build Hobbit Holes, and not everyone that we talk to knows what a Hobbit Hole is. So, Hobbit Hole is a house that a hobbit lives in. See if anyone's home. Knock on the door. And a hobbit is a character from The Lord of the Rings, and also from the book The Hobbit, which have become much more popular in recent years because of the movies about them. And so we build houses that are designed after the concept of the Hobbit Hole. We build Hobbit Holes for all uses. For work or play, we like to say. We make Hobbit Holes for chickens. We build Hobbit Hole chicken coops. Got some windows here that open for ventilation. And here is the nest box for this coop. Oh, look! We make Hobbit Hole sheds and Hobbit Hole playhouses. Richard, where are you? And this Hobbit Hole here is a Hobbit Hole cottage. They all have a round dome-shaped front and a round front door, as you'll see behind me. And in the books, they're built underground, and we build underground Hobbit Holes too, but most of the ones we build are not. It's a lot more expensive to build them underground, and it's not as practical for things like windows. We didn't set out to start a Hobbit Hole business, believe it or not. We started out to do a Playhouse business. And the first event we went to, we brought a prototype Hobbit Hole, and we were swarmed with kids all 3 days, as you can imagine.
Can't walk it.
I'm 6 foot tall, and I'll go in to give you a size reference.
But we noticed that the adults really had an interest in the Hobbit Holes.
I'm actually almost standing up, but not quite. This isn't built for adults.
So we said, we've got a winner here, but how are we going to broaden our market? So we've gone from Playhouse to Cottage, as you can see in here. This is a pretty stripped down model at the moment because it hasn't had all of the interior amenities added yet. Like there's a kitchenette that will be going over on this side, but it has been wired with electricity for some lights and electrical outlets. We do sheds and chicken coops now as well.
This Hobbit Hole is designed to be used primarily as a garden shed, but I can also configure the same size to be used for virtually anything you would want to use it for.
My husband and I are both fans of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, definitely. And my husband Rocky just has a really great imagination and a lot of carpentry skills.
This variety is very popular to be used as a guest cottage. So we could potentially put a fold-out bunk back there, for instance. I can also customize this Hobbit Hole. I can go so far as to put hardwood floors in them, insulate them.
Whenever anyone reads a book, they have an image in their mind's eye of how an author is painting the picture of a particular scene or structure. And so this is our interpretation. It's kind of a intersection of practicality, of what you can practically build, and that imaginary aspect of what the mind's eye created, and applying that to what can be made into an actual structure. Today we're going to take a tour of a 9x9 Hobbit Hole guest cottage that we just installed for a customer here. And we've got a futon installed in here, so this makes a nice little guest house space. The fun part for Rocky in designing and then building these structures is applying that creativity and problem solving to put something together that's beautiful and functional and really appealing to people. And then, from a business perspective, it has to be at a price that people find attractive. This one has a cedar shingle face and pine siding. This cottage is the largest hobbit hole that we build. We do custom jobs. As far as our standard offerings, this is about the biggest at about 200 square feet. This customer wanted to have a screened porch in the back. So this is a 2-room hobbit hole. I think folks are being drawn more now to smaller spaces to live in with the desire to kind of return to simplicity. He has plans to make this space into a kitchenette, and then on this other side is a small dining space set up with a clever little table that pulls away from the wall and turns into a full-size table. And then this larger space here will be a bedroom area. So there's enough room there for a full-size bed, which will probably be a futon, so it can be folded up. The more space you have, the more stuff you have, the more responsibilities you have, and it costs more to have all of this space and all of this stuff, and we all end up being kind of riddled with debt and responsibility. And so being able to simplify things, starting with the space that you live in, I think is becoming really appealing to people who just want to leave all those burdens behind, or at least reduce them significantly. This hobbit hole was not plumbed, but that could certainly be done. And in a model like this, you might use some of this screened porch space for a bathroom instead. And it's quite spacious inside for a hobbit hole for full-size people. Door's 4 feet round, so you do have to stoop to get through it, but not uncomfortably so for most people, I don't think. There's definitely something really inviting about hobbit holes. All those curves, the front of the buildings are curved, the front door is round, the walls are curved. I think all of that is really appealing to people, because we're used to seeing right angles in structures, and everything is very square, and to look at something that has all these beautiful curves is really not only different and notable, but also very soft and welcoming. It's just a very inviting, appealing structure. There! Now you're ready to have a picnic. Oh, can you spread it out? We all remember when we were kids really liking to create forts out of blankets thrown over tables or with bunk beds, and just liking to create those small spaces to kind of crawl into and feel enclosed and kind of almost hugged or enveloped within. And I think that that's part of the appeal of our hobbit holes. Is it's a nice enclosed structure to go inside and feel safe and curl up and read a book, or kind of reminds us of that feeling of safety when we were kids. Do you see any chickens? Are they going buck, 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 buck? The appeal of the hobbit hole really isn't age specific. It's something unique that you don't see, and people like seeing something different in kind of a cookie cutter world where we just see a lot of the same things repeated all the time. Adults are just as drawn to these structures as kids, because adults hopefully haven't lost their playfulness.
The floor space is approximately 9 feet by 7 feet deep.
The fact that the structure has a lot of elements that you don't normally see, the curved walls, it's really appealing. It's challenging. There are reasons why the structures that you see all have square angles, but what you sacrifice a little bit maybe in functionality, you gain in that aesthetic appeal of those gentle curves and just that feeling of being inside, kind of an embrace of a building is nice. think the lifestyle of the Hobbit, if you're familiar with the story, is very iconic. You know, hobbits live very simple lives in beautiful surroundings.
All right, enough of me. You can
Very kind of idyllic
Take another look at the
rural
Playhouse.
existence, and it's something that maybe not everyone would choose for a lifestyle, but they like the idea of it at least. And I think that the Hobbit Hole embodies that idyllic lifestyle that maybe we would at least like to try on. Maybe we're not ready to embrace it completely, but we'd like to try it on. And so a hobbit hole in your landscape could, give you that opportunity to kind of escape from the craziness of everyday life and just kind of pretend that you live like a hobbit for a little while.